Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Chapter 16, executing the Payovrat process of worship. Please follow along. As described in this chapter, because Aditi, the mother of the demigods, was very afflicted, her husband Kashyapa Muni told her how to observe vows in austerities for the benefit of her sons. Since the demigods were not visible in the heavenly kingdom, their mother Aditi, because of separation from them, was very much aggrieved. One day, after many, many years, the great sage Kashyapa emerged from a trance of meditation and returned to his ashram. So you can imagine, you're married and your husband is off years doing meditation. Just see how strong these personalities were. So he saw that his ashram was no longer beautiful and that his wife was very morose. Everywhere in the ashram, he saw signs of lamentation. The great sage therefore inquired from his wife about the well-being of the ashram and asked her why she looked so morose. After Aditi informed Kashyapa Muni about the ashram's well-being, she told him that she was lamenting for the absence of her sons. She then requested him to tell her how her sons could return and reoccupy their positions. She wanted all good fortune for her sons. By the way, that's natural. Every mother wants that for her children. And there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong. Yes, every mother naturally wants everything for the children. So Aditi, she is an elevated woman. She's the mother of God. 3 times Krishna told Devaki, right, when Krishna appeared, he said, this is the 3rd time I am appearing. You were Prishni and Sutapa. I was your son, Prishni Garba. And then Krishna mentioned this, that you were Aditi and Kashyapa, and I appeared as your son, Vamana. Now, the 3rd time I am appearing as Krishna. After this, you're going back to Godhead. Pretty nice. Very nice. Let's continue. Moved by Aditi's request, Kashyapa Muni instructed her in the philosophy of self-realization, the difference between matter and spirit, and how to be unaffected by material loss. What book would you learn this? Huh? Before that? Bhagavad Gita. Raman knows because she lives Bhagavad Gita. Yes. Where do you learn, first of all, about the difference between matter and spirit? What chapter? 2nd chapter. And don't we hear in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna telling Arjuna, be equipoised, don't worry about victory, defeat, loss or gain? Yes. He's teaching her basic Bhagavad Gita, which is muy importante, which we all know now, right? We've studied it years here in what used to be called Kundaloka, but I can't say that anymore. Huh? No, I'm just referring how I used to call, but you don't let me do it anymore. Yes. What's that? Ataloka. Good idea. Krishna has spoken through your mouth. Ataloka. All right, let's continue. But when he saw that Aditi was not satisfied, even after he had given these instructions, he advised her to worship Vasudeva. Everybody, come on. Janardana. So Janardan has different meanings. So one meaning, killer of the demons. Another meaning, the maintainer of the universe. Everybody say, Janardana. He assured her that only Lord Vasudeva could satisfy her and fulfill all her desires. When Aditi then expressed her desire to worship Lord, Prajapati Kashyapa told her about a process of worship known as Payovrat, which is executed in 12 days. In the chapter, it explains very detailed how Kashyapa instructed her how to worship Lord Krishna, and you live by only drinking milk for 12 days. That's the Payovrat. 12 days, you just drink milk. Lord Brahma had instructed him how to satisfy Lord Krishna by this process. And thus he advised his wife to observe this vow and its regulative principles. So, now I will ask a question to you. Does Prabhupada want us to do Payovrat? What does Prabhupada want us to do? What kind of vrat? I'm asking him. What vrat does Prabhupada want us to do? Sankirtan. That means chanting on the mala. How many rounds? Minimum 6. Vishnu Kumar. And now here's your chance. Besides chanting, what else should we do? Shh, shh. What's that? What books? Britannica? Srila Prabhupada's books. And do you speak from realization on that? Yes, don't worry. Yes, you have experience. Same way with Nijadam. So you have the potency to tell others, distribute book, distribute book, distribute book. All in favor say, Hari Bol. Shall we go to the next chapter? Let's do chapter 17. The Supreme Lord agrees to become Aditi's son. Wow. As explained in this chapter, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, being very pleased by the Payovrat ceremony performed by Aditi, appeared before her in full opulence. At her request, the Lord agreed to become her son. After Aditi performed the Payovrat ceremony for 12 continuous days, the Lord, who was certainly very pleased with her, appeared before her with 4 hands dressed in yellow garments. As soon as Aditi saw the Supreme Personality of Godhead present before her, she immediately got up, and with great ecstatic love for the Lord, she fell to the ground to offer respectful obeisances. Same thing we should do when we go to temple. We should offer our respectful obeisances. Aditi's throat was choked because of ecstatic feelings, and her entire body trembled with devotion. Although she wanted to offer suitable prayers to the Lord, she could not do anything, and thus she remained silent for some time. Then, feeling solace, observing the beauty of the Lord, she offered her prayers. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Super Soul, Param Atma of all living entities, was very pleased with her, and he agreed to become her son by incarnating as a plenary expansion, full expansion. He was already pleased by Kashyapa Muni's austerities, and thus he agreed to become their son and maintain the demigods. After giving his word of honor to this effect, the Lord disappeared. Following the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Aditi engaged in the service of Kashyapa Muni, who could see by samadhi that the Lord was within him, and who thus placed his semen in the womb of Aditi. Lord Brahma, who was known as Hiranyagarbha, understood that the Supreme Personality of Godhead had entered Aditi's womb. Thus he offered prayers to the Lord. Everybody chant the Maha Mantra. Okay, let's do the next chapter. Chapter 18, Vamana-deva, the dwarf incarnation. This chapter describes how Vamana-deva appeared and how he went to the sacrificial arena of Maharaj Bali, who received him well and fulfilled his desire by offering him benedictions. Vamana-deva appeared in this world from the womb of Aditi, completely equipped with conch shell, disc, club, and lotus. His bodily hue was blackish, and he was dressed in yellow garments. Lord Vishnu appeared at an auspicious moment on Vamana-deva-katha, so that was yesterday, when the Abhijit star had arisen. At that time, in all the three worlds, including the higher planetary system, outer space, and this earth, all the demigods, cows, Brahmins, and even the seasons were happy because of God's appearance. Therefore, this auspicious day is called Vijaya. So yesterday was auspicious day, when the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who has a Satchit Ananda body, eternal, full of bliss and cognizant, appeared as the son of Kashyapa and Aditi. Both of his parents were very astonished. After his appearance, the Lord assumed the form of a dwarf, Vamana. Very similar to Krishna, right? Krishna first appeared as Narayan, and then he turned himself to look like an ordinary human baby. So, first he appeared as Narayan, and now he's a dwarf brahmachari, Vamana. All the great sages expressed their jubilation, and with Kashyapa Muni before them, they performed the birthday ceremony of Lord Vamana. At the time of Vamana-deva's sacred thread ceremony, he was honored by the sun god, Brihaspati, the goddess presiding over the planet Earth, the deity of the heavenly planets, his mother, Lord Brahma, Kuvera, the 7 rishis, and others. So each of them gave Vamana a different gift. What do you think Kuvera gave? What's that? Yes, very good. Wearing a belt made of munja straw, an upper garment of deerskin, and a sacred thread, and carrying in his hands a danda, rod, an umbrella, and a kamandulu, water pot, Vamana-deva then appeared in the sacrificial arena of Maharaj Bali. Because of his transcendentally effulgent presence, all the priests were diminished in their prowess, and thus they all stood from their seats and offered prayers to Vamana-deva. For even Lord Shiva accepts on his head the Ganges water generated from the toe of Vamana-deva. Therefore, after washing the Lord's feet, Bali Maharaj immediately accepted the water from the Lord's feet on his head and felt that he and his predecessors had certainly been glorified. Then Bali Maharaj inquired of Vamana-dev's welfare and requested the Lord to ask him for money, jewels, or anything he might desire. So, what has happened here, Bali, under the guidance of Shukracharya, is doing a yajna. So the moment that Vamana-deva arrived was the moment when it was appropriate for Bali to give charity, because Vamana-deva is very super intelligent. So he arrived just at the right time. Now we will go to chapter 19. Vamana-deva begs charity from Bali. This 19th chapter describes how Vamana-deva asked for 3 paces of land in charity, how Bali Maharaj agreed to his proposal, and how Shukracharya forbade Bali Maharaj to fulfill Vamana-deva's request. When Bali Maharaj, thinking Vamana-deva to be a son of a Brahmin, told him to ask for anything he liked, Vamana-deva praised Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha for their heroic activities. Another clever thing of Vamana. Even though Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha are demons, Vamana-deva is showing Bali, yeah, I know about your heritage. And the way, if you read the way Vamana-deva describes it, it makes it look like Lord Vishnu was afraid in order to present Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha as exalted. It's all part of Vamana-deva's preaching tactic. The way, if you read the actual way he talks, he describes it in a certain way to make Bali feel like, yes, I am very, very special. As I've learned many, many years ago, flattery will open up so many doors. Preachers should know that. There is the famous devotee of Lord Chaitanya, Prabodhananda Saraswati. So how did he preach? My dear sir, you are very aristocratic. You are very, very knowledgeable. You are very, very nice. My dear sir, please, you are wonderful, but I beg one thing. I just beg one thing. Forget everything you have learned and hear about Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That's the art of preaching. You glorify, puff them up, and then you say, but in your case, please take this book. As I used to say sometimes when I was younger, somebody I would approach and they would say, I don't want your book. I want to be this. I say, oh, great. Read chapter 16 of this book. It'll teach you how to be the best of the demons. What's chapter 16? Divine and demoniac natures. So I said, oh, great. Here's the chapter. Read this. You'll become the best. That's what I would say to Trump. Read chapter 16. You will become all victorious. Okay, let's continue. So, after thus praising the family in which Bali Maharaj had been born, he begged the king for 3 paces of land. Bali Maharaj agreed to give this land in charity, since this was very insignificant. So, when Vamana-deva said, I just want 3 steps of land, Bali said, come on, I'm in charge of the whole universe. I can give you your own planet. You should ask something more. But Vamana-deva teaches us a very important lesson. Vamana-deva says, if I'm not happy with 3 steps, then even if I have the whole universe, I won't be happy. And Vamana-deva goes on to say that a Brahmana should never be discontent. A Brahmana is someone who, whatever situation they're in, they accept it as Krishna's mercy and they try to be happy. In my life, I can say, yes, when my wife and I first started out, we were in a little box trailer. We had Mitravinda in the school, Gurukula school, and all the temple said, all we can give you is this little one-room box trailer. But we were happy. Then we got apartment, we were happy. No matter where Krishna put us, Krishna has provided. As you can see, I've not starved. Right? So a devotee, a Brahmana, learns, whatever my situation, I should just try to be happy. Because Vamana-deva is saying that if you're greedy, then you'll never be happy. And he says, even if you have the whole universe, if you're not content, you're not going to be happy. And we see this, right? These billionaires, they have billions. You would think, okay, relax, and no, I got to have more. What's an extra billion going to do? You're still only going to eat 2 chapatis. It's not that, oh, now I have 10 billion. Now I can eat 6 chapatis. No. So a devotee, Brahmana, learns, this is what Krishna has given me. I should like Sudama. You all know the story of Sudama. Sudama was so poor that when his wife sent him, they had to go to the neighbor to beg rice to bring to Krishna. That's how, but Sudama was happy. And when Krishna blessed him, it's not that he became a different Sudama. He was the same Sudama. So we should be like that. You can say like this. When we started out too many years ago, where did we do the program? Warehouse. And who was back? Who came? Were we happy? We were happy. We had good prasad. We had good programs. Then one day, Krishna gave you this place. And soon, I'm predicting, Krishna is going to give you a better place. Will we be happy? I mean, no. If Krishna gives you, what are you going to say? No, Krishna? You're going to say no to Krishna? Hey, who's your Shiksha Guru? All right, so if Krishna gives you better, I'm going to be like Shukracharya. Take it. Okay? Whatever Krishna gives, you accept. All right, don't worry. Krishna's not going to give you anything you can't handle. Yes. All right, let's continue. So, be satisfied with what Krishna gives you. Okay. Bali Maharaj agreed to give this land in charity since this was very insignificant. But Shukracharya, who could understand that Vamana-deva was Vishnu, the friend of the demigods, forbade Bali to give this land. So Bali doesn't know that Vamana-deva is Vishnu. All he sees is this nice brahmachari, and naturally he's attracted. Bali is pious, and he wants, it's proper, he gives charity. But Shukracharya, he has vision. He knows Vamana-deva. He knows, whoa. You foolish disciple, you don't know what you're doing, idiot. This is the enemy. The demigods are their enemies. And Vishnu works on behalf. So, Shukracharya advised Bali to withdraw his promise. He explained, that in subduing others, in joking, in responding to danger, in acting for the welfare of others, and so on, one could refuse to fulfill one's promise, and there would be no fault. Actually, if you read the chapter, Shukracharya quotes from the Vedas and gives all these examples when it's permissible to break your promise from the Vedas. Shukracharya tried to dissuade Bali Maharaj from giving land to Vamana because Shukracharya knows if he does this, we're finished. We're done. Because he knows this Vamana-deva is Vishnu, and he knows he's going to take everything away. Everybody chant the Maha.